Have you ever wondered what it is like to see a warrior who always carried ice in his heart finally melt into tears? Well, that was Hyoga's fate the cygnus saved in the most intimate and painful moment of his journey in Saint Seiya, when he cried before the tomb of Camus, his master and at the same time the greatest adversary of his life. The relationship between Hyoga and Camus was always marked by a contradictory mix of feelings. On one hand, admiration, respect, and the training that shaped Hyoga as a saint. On the other, the cruel clash of destiny that placed them face to face in a battle where only one could stand. The disciple against the master, the son against the father figure, and when Camus fell, it wasn't just Hyoga's victory. It was an open wound, a scar that would never heal. Camus' tomb didn't just represent the death of a gold saint. It represented the end of a bond that, even broken by fate, would forever echo in Hyoga's heart. Imagine the icy silence of that moment, the wind blowing through the graves, carrying frozen memory. Hyoga on his knees, staring at the cold stone, but what he truly saw were Camus' firm eyes, the master who taught him to control his cosmo, discipline, and pain. There, without armor, without glory, Hyoga wasn't the cygnus saint. He was just a lost young man, crying before the man who showed him the way. And it's in that contrast that the scene becomes so powerful, because Hyoga, the warrior of ice, was always the most contained, the most reserved among the bronze saints. Seeing his tears was like watching a glacier finally break apart, releasing everything that had been locked inside for years. Those tears weren't just grief. They were also an apology. Hyoga knew that by defeating Camus, he had destroyed more than an enemy. He had shattered the bond tying him to his childhood, to the figure of his master, to the father who was no longer present. Behind the battle was a divided heart, carrying a pain no victory could erase. And that is exactly what makes Saint Seiya such a timeless work. How the fights are never just physical, there's always something bigger. There's always an emotional weight that transforms every punch, every tear, into something far greater than a simple battle. By the way, since we're talking about unforgettable moments, let me open a quick parenthesis. Have you heard of the Gauss USA Guano QT air fryer? Large air fryer. If Hyoga had one of these in the sanctuary's fridge, even he could turn that cold routine into something more practical and tasty. It's cutting-edge tech that makes life easier, saves time, and still makes every meal worthy of a saint. Back to Hyoga, it's striking to realize how Camus' tomb is not just a symbol of death, but also of rebirth. There, before the gravestone, Hyoga stopped being just a student and took his place as a true saint. It's as if, in the silence of the cemetery, Camus was still teaching, no longer with words or blows, but with memory and the weight of choices. And each tear shed in that moment was as if Hyoga was saying, "I carry on, Master, but I'll never forget." This episode is also one of the most remembered because it shows something rare in shonen heroes: vulnerability. The Hyoga we saw there wasn't invincible. He was human. He suffered, he cried, he remembered, and that made him even stronger. Because carrying that pain without breaking is what truly defines a warrior. And maybe that's why, when fans recall this moment, they feel their hearts tighten. Because deep down, all of us have been through something similar. We've lost someone who taught us, who guided us, who marked us, and in the face of absence, only tears remain to lighten the weight. Camus' tomb, therefore, is much more than a cold stone in the sanctuary's cemetery. It's the point where past and future meet. It's the farewell and, at the same time, the promise that the legacy will continue. Hyoga cried, but he stood up, because that's the path of the saints. To feel the pain, but keep moving forward. And here comes the great reflection. If Ivan Hyoga, the coldest of warriors, was able to cry before his master's tomb, don't we all also carry within us a frozen tear, just waiting for the right moment to be set free?